Hello everyone, my name is the Trail Guy. My real name is Mike Suminski. I've been doing trails now for right now exactly 10 years. I'm excited about getting this video blog going. I'll be sharing with you a lot. I've got sort of a core library of ideas, information, thoughts that I've sort of accumulated for the last 30 years, and I'd like to, over the future, share all this information with you guys. And I've been, just to give you a quick background, I've done 37 marathons in the last 27 years, but in the last 10 years my passion became trail running. Happened back in 1994. I met up with a guy. I was in a racquetball club, and he was talking about his father, who's done many adventure races. He's done Mount Everest, he's done Peru, he's done all these adventure races, but he says my dad struts around with this belt buckle called the Leadville 100 belt buckle, and I asked him, what's that about? And he mentioned this is a 100-mile race in Leadville, Colorado, and it's put on every year, and that sort of intrigued me, so I looked into it, and at that time I was 42 years of age, so I said, geez, I'd like to do something different when I turn 50, and this is back in 1994. So I looked into this, and I said, okay, that's what I'm going to set as my goal, is the Leadville 100 race, 2002, when I turned 50. So when it came around, close to 2002, December of 2002, I sent my application in, and I started running my first trails in January of 2002. And from there on, what I did is for 7 months I trained, and I ran my first marathon, and absolutely got hooked on trail running, and it's a passion of mine. So what I'd like to do now and in the future, share what I've learned, what I've experienced. I'll be sharing tips and ideas with you. I believe I know what works and what doesn't work, and so I'm really excited, and I'm a really believer of working on the mental game. I remember years ago I went to a seminar, quite a few seminars, there are motivational speakers, and that's when I was back in the 80s. I was a realtor for 14 years, and we were introduced to a lot of communicators, a lot of motivators, and and a lot of you probably have heard of him, is Zig Ziglar, and I've got a lot of good thoughts from him. But he did mention one thing. He said, how many times, I remember there was about 500 of us listening to him at a hotel in Calgary when I lived in Calgary. I've been in Victoria now since 1996. But going back to that, when we got Zig Ziglar mentioned to everyone, he asked, well, how many times do you feed yourself from the neck down? And everybody sort of looked at each other, and we said, oh, basically 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and supper. And then he hesitated, and he says, well, how many times do you feed yourself from the neck up? And again, everyone sort of looked, and that's when he got into say how we have to feed ourselves mental candy from the neck up. And from that time on, and I'm talking 25 years ago, that I really believe in positive self-talk. And I've learned a lot of people, because I do some coaching on one-on-one coaching, and I found a lot of people can do the physical, the training part of it, they can do the program and everything, the physical part of it, but when it comes down to mental preparation, I mean, a lot of people break down a week before, and they just have negative self-talk. And I'll be discussing a lot of that, about positive self-talk, what I do. I use affirmations, for example, and let me show you. Well, I am really serious about this kind of stuff. So, and I've put it over the years, I've put down my affirmations on a little 3x5 cards, and I'm just going to show you an example of them, 3x5 cards, and I would say these every morning, 10 of them in the morning and 10 in the evening, and I would just really get this into my subconscious mind. Give you an idea, one it's called I Am Capturing the Here Now. I would say that 10 times in the morning, 10 times in the evening. And I've got like 135 of these here. This is all the stuff I've accumulated over the last 30 years. And this is just part and parcel of having that mental, and again, practice, practice. Again, another well-known speaker, he was in the real estate field, is Tony Robbins. Anthony Robbins, and he mentioned again the key to greatness is, he called it PDR, practice, drilling, rehearse, or training. You practice, drilling, I mean, the golfers do that. I mean, they practice 1,000 shots a day to get that. So, and those principles be related to running, and I've again applied that into my running. And we got to make it fun. I mean, I have lots of stuff here. Like I use little stories here. Like I use for my little triggers. Like something like this. I call this. Now look at that. What's that? It's a can with eyes on it. What do you call that? It's called an eye can. I can do it. This is a trigger that I've had. This little Libby's can of beans is probably 25 years old, so I wouldn't want to open that. But that's something I like to do. Or I'll be sharing stories like this. Anybody know who this is? This is Winston Churchill. A lot of you, I don't know about you young bucks, but all us older guys, Winston Churchill was one of England's top statesmen, but he was known as a great speaker. And one of his biggest speeches, and I'll share that with you right away, one of his biggest speeches was, and this is 7 words of success. I mean, you can go to seminars, you can read all the books, but these 7 words, if you forget about anything, remember these 7 words. But it was a story what happened. He was invited to speak at the Cambridge University's graduation. And there was about 200 students that were graduating in this hall. But then friends and family were there, and there's about 400 to 500 of them. And they knew that he was going to be speaking, so they were all excited about it. So Winston came, they asked him, well, they introduced him and they told him to come up to the stage. And Winston Churchill came from the very back of the room. He slowly came up to the stage. He went to the platform and he slowly looked at the crowd, looked at the graduates, and he says, "Never give up." And then he got off this podium, off the stage, and he starts walking all the way back in the back room, and people are sort of buzzing around. That's it? Here's Winston Churchill, man. He's got to have wisdom. He's got to say more. So there was a little buzzing hesitation. 3 minutes later, the door opens from the back and it's Winston again. He slowly walks up to the front, goes to the podium, looks at everybody, and he says, "Never, never give up." Left the stage, and that was his greatest speech. That's 7 words. Never give up, never, never give up. And I've used that, and that's my philosophy of anything I do, especially trail running. When you get at mile 87, and you got to keep going. But we'll talk more about that in the future. But that's just to give you another idea. Another exciting part of it. Here's another picture I have here of Ken Klober, race director at Leadville. I mean, if you can't have fun, look at this guy. He's the race director. Look at the way he's dressing and everything, man. We had fun times. Actually, I'm going back there this year for my 3rd one. I turned 62 weeks ago, running my 3rd Leadville. I did it in 2002 when I turned 50. I did it in 2007 when I turned 55. And now I'm celebrating for my birthday present to myself, doing it for the 3rd time. But after all that and said and done, I've got other stuff here. This is another trigger card. This is mental toughness too. Bottom line is, you got to have a relaxed state, clear mind. I'm sort of briefly going over stuff, but we'll go into that in more detail. But another big thing too, I want to be here for you guys. I want to give you good content in the future. So if try to go on my website or on my Twitter or whatever. A big question I have, and I did a survey a few weeks ago from a group of people I have running every Sunday here out in Victoria. And one of the big questions is, I asked them, what is the single biggest frustrations you have when running on trails? That's a key question. So I got a lot of feedback from the people, and I found 90% of the people who answered that question were saying injury-free. I don't want to be injured. I want to run for a lifetime. I love running. And I found 80 to 90% of the people, that was the question. And I can tell you right now, I've been running for 21 years. I gained 37 marathons. I'm doing my 17th ultra marathon in August. And I found injury-free. I've had 1 injury. 1 injury. I've got a hip that goes out, but I get maintenance on it. But other than that, 1 injury in 21 years. The way I've done it, I train smart, not hard. And I've got a system that works. I know what I'm doing. I know what hasn't worked, but I really know what's going on. So I'll be sharing that type of information with you guys. Another stuff, I'll be sharing stories with you on the experience that I've had for the last 21 years, especially the last 10 years doing on trails. But it is fun, fun, fun. And a lot of you are probably watching this or listening to this and have done some ultras or trail running. I mean, it's nothing like it. I wish I would have got it sooner, but hey, I'm here right now and I'm looking for another 30 years. So hopefully I'll be around here for 30 years sharing a lot of good contact with you guys. And of course I'll be straightforward, give you direct advice, and I'll be telling you stuff. This is the stuff you must do. And there's a lot of fluff out there. There's a lot of, I don't know, they say in North America we analyze a lot too much. So analysis causes paralysis. That's bottom line with that. So I'm going to tell you stuff that works. What else can I say? I mean, I've got another thing. Oh, I'm going to share with you another guy here who lives in Victoria. He's 90 years old. Hands, buddy. He started running when he was 83 years old. He's 90 now, but you see the guy. He comes into a store I work for. I work for an athletic store in town. And he comes in there and he's bubbling. I mean, he's bouncing around like a 12-year-old kid. And he just loves running. But again, little science says never too late. He started at 83 years old, and he's training now for his 4th half marathon. But so that's a lot of inspirational people I've met, and I'll share a lot of those stories and experiences and the people I've met. But again, bottom line, injury-free running, that's what it's all about. I mean, you want to have fun for a lifetime? There's age categories. That's what got me excited. There's age categories. That kept my interest. And with the trail is fun, fun, fun. So what else? What else? Oh, another thing that we're going to be talking about. I've got these little cards and this stuff. They're laminated cards. I don't know if you guys ever noticed coaches on the, if you go to watch NFL football games, you'll see on the sidelines coaches walking around and they'll have laminated note cards. Well, those are their set plays. I mean, they're putting it on cards. So I get stuff that I've got, these are sort of my trigger cards I call them, and I put them on here and I look at them. The reason I laminated them, because it's nice and neat and I won't have my dirty fingers on this after I'm looking at it, but I have things like this, for example, my trigger cards about biofeedback, constructive self-talk, meditation, and then the big thing here we'll discuss is ideal internal climate for peak performance. This is the formula I use. It's called focus on the task at hand, inner calm, actually that's mental toughness, and intensity. That's more the, if you're on a program, the miles you have to do every week. And these are my trigger cards. And I'm telling you, I've had trigger cards. I've showed you my 3x5 cards on affirmations. Hey, I've got them down on here. Here, I've got 132 of them right now. We're going to be talking about motivation, what it means. We're going to be talking about inspiration. Here, what I mean, motivation, reason to take action. I can't motivate you. You have to have your own why. I got my own why. Run in Leadville for the 3rd time. I'll go. I can direct you, give you guidance, but you have to find your own motivation. I looked this up in the Webster Dictionary, exactly what motivation meant. Then, what I try to do is I want to inspire you guys to be on trails. And I looked for that meaning of that word, and the meaning of inspiration is compel you to action. I want to get you guys in action. That's what it's all about. If I can inspire anyone, one person, whatever, because I have so much passion about running and on trails, and again, I want to share that with you guys in the future. And if you kind of think you're going to like it, I hope you will stay tuned onto my website. We're going to have fun. We're going to have a lot of good content, some good information, good ideas, and don't forget who I am, the Trail Guy. Talk to you later. Take care.